There aren't black holes. There's no spot where energy goes in and never comes back out. There's no place in the universe where there is an imbalance. Something gets contracted and never comes out. Aliens, weird human sacrifices, black holes, and earthquakes. You might not believe us when we say that CERN's scientific legacy has nothing to do with its actual achievements. Back in 2012, the organization shocked the scientific community by rewriting the very rules of quantum physics. Soon enough, CERN lost a major chunk of its reputation to warning signs that personalities like Terrence Howard couldn't ignore. Why is the organization so secretive about its operations? Everything boils down to science that doesn't help humanity but dooms it. Join us as we explore the mysterious activity happening at CERN that no one can explain. Why is CERN so unpopular for particle and quantum physicists? CERN, or the European Organization for Nuclear Research, is nothing short of a scientific wonder. Thanks to its world's largest and highest energy particle collider, the LHC Large Hadron Collider. For years, quantum scientists have grappled with questions about particles such as neutrons, dark matter, and antimatter. Between 1998 and 2008, CERN collaborated with more than 10,000 scientists, hundreds of research universities, and laboratories from at least 100 countries to bring the LHC to light. When the particle collider was finally operational, CERN's reputation began to take a nosedive. The LHC lies in a tunnel as deep as 1,275 meters, 574 feet, beneath the France-Switzerland border near Geneva. While it largely exists out of human sight, it has been shockingly dubbed as the device for Earth's demise. Believe it or not, one of the biggest scientific wonders on Earth is considered potentially catastrophic for human civilization. To be fair, CERN wasn't always this controversial. It was a scientific research facility with world-class machinery in the heart of Europe. It is the very place where the World Wide Web was developed by English computer scientist Tim Berners-Lee in 1989 and was opened to the public in 1991. Tim wanted to create a universal linked information system for scientists to stay connected. Today, we can't even imagine our lives without the little www we insert before accessing anything of use, from education to online shopping sprees. But then something about CERN changed. Their focus on atom splitting and potentially finding new particles drove them over the edge, at least in the eyes of LHC opponents. We will talk about why scientists are so terrified of the particle collider in a second, but before that, let us talk about why CERN has become a hub of major conspiracy theories. While a lot of the stories about CERN's sinister activities sound outrageous, they are not completely baseless. You know what they say, where there's smoke, there's fire. The story of CERN's descent into madness comes from the LHC, but not for the purpose you think. Before it could even make an excellent discovery of the God particle in 2012, it was rumored that scientists at CERN were using the LHC for something bigger and wilder. Scientists use the LHC to test any theoretical notions in particle physics, particularly those that seem deviant to the standard model in physics. The standard model explains a super useful part of particle physics, but as a discipline, it is still incomplete. For instance, the standard model explains 3 of the 4 known fundamental forces, weak and strong interactions and electromagnetism. So far, it doesn't explain gravity. Practically, we also use the standard model to classify all of the known elementary particles. Scientists theorize that there are other particles we have discovered so far, and that's exactly where the LHC comes in. There are hundreds of important unanswered questions about particle physics. Now, you might have heard scientists throwing around the words dark matter and dark energy. Many scientists are also still researching why we have more matter in the universe than antimatter. These questions have haunted scientists for decades, and they're hoping for the LHC to find them conclusive answers, no matter what the cost. So why do you think these questions are important? Well, if we are able to harness the mystery of dark matter and dark energy, we can take over the universe. Dark matter makes most of the galaxy clusters in the universe. Galaxies are organized on a grand scale the way they are because of dark matter. For years, scientists have theorized that we can use dark matter as the key ingredient for revolutionary propulsion technology that can allow humans to reach speeds close to the speed of light. You heard that right. If we are able to acquire dark matter as fuel, then we are looking at some daunting possibilities becoming real opportunities, including travel to parallel universes and exploring inches of the universe that are dark and unknown. At the same time, dark energy is the very mysterious force that is enabling the expansion of our universe. Hundreds of years of scientific discovery haven't been able to explain that enigma. In fact, even the LHC hasn't touched base with this particular matter, at least not anything that we know of. All we know is that the LHC can reproduce the conditions that existed within a billionth of a second of the Big Bang. It is the only high-functioning equipment we have to relive our history from its very conception. If we are to study why a dark, mysterious force is enlarging our universe every second, what's a better way to go back in time and rediscover the very universe right after its birth? This is precisely what makes the LHC the apex of our scientific dreams, as well as a completely terrifying and potentially catastrophic nightmare. Opponents of the LHC have chastised CERN for being adamant about finding discrepancies in the Standard Model by risking our planet's survival. There are scientific reports that theorize that the LHC might just create a black hole. If there's anything that Interstellar has taught us, we shouldn't really be messing with those energy-sucking, confusing space villains. But the questions on dark energy, dark matter, and antimatter bring us to the very issue that has taken a hit on CERN's reputation. There's speculation that CERN scientists are trying to open up a portal to another dimension using the LHC. And as we said earlier, where there's smoke, there's fire, a ritual, or a hoax. To be fair, the general public might not have taken a keen interest in the proton smasher if it weren't for the bizarre 2016 controversy that left the scientific community in sheer disbelief. Before the 2016 incident, there were several rumors about CERN being super secretive. No matter what went down in the organization, its leadership would only resort to internal investigations or closed inquiries. While CERN has shared technical reports of certain incidents that have happened in the LHC, including a dangerous helium leak, it hasn't been forthcoming with a lot of details. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. A lot of its projects and publications lack severe peer review mechanisms, which are prerequisites for any research to make its way into the world. But since its conception, CERN has seen itself above the rules. This is why the world was shocked when a confusing and downright frightening video from CERN's Geneva campus was allegedly leaked onto the internet. The video had nothing to do with the so-called scientific work at the organization. Rather, we saw scientists clad in black robes ready to indulge in a ritualistic sacrifice of a woman. The scientists were gathered around the main complex of the Geneva campus, the very home of the LHC, where they prepared for a macabre cult sacrifice. According to The Guardian, the video includes the staged stabbing of a woman. It is filmed from the perspective of a secret viewer watching from a window above, who, as the ceremony reaches its climax, lets out a string of expletives and flees with a camera still running. In the video, we could also see that the sacrifice was taking place in front of the statue of a Hindu deity, Shiva, which is on display in CERN's main complex. For a hot minute, anyone who watched the video assumed that it was another well-edited footage that had gone viral. But the truth was even more terrifying. CERN was able to confirm that the video was indeed real and had been recorded in its main complex by the organization's scientists. However, the video was a mere prank meant to mock the faction that thinks CERN is a satanic cult trying to open a portal to hell or some equally terrifying dimension. Nothing about CERN's statements made sense. While the video seemed exaggerated, we couldn't conclusively tell if it wasn't staged or not. How come scientists were staging a sacrifice in a place that struggles to find any scientific legitimacy among the general public? Where were CERN security forces when scientists were staging this weird prank? Once again, CERN went radio silent on news reporters and journalists asking these very important questions. It was much later when the organization's spokesperson issued a statement saying, "CERN welcomes thousands of scientific users from all over the world every year, and sometimes some of them let their humor go too far. This is what happened on this occasion." However, CERN didn't release the names of the scientists involved in this horrible gimmick. The spokesperson clarified that they would conduct an internal investigation on the matter but never really bothered to inform the public of their findings. Sounds bizarre, right? For years, CERN has tried to negate rumors of any illicit activities happening at the LHC, but the organization keeps tripping on its feet. We have no way to conclusively see if the ritual sacrifice was real or not, but it was clear that CERN might not be able to recover from this snafu. And well, it didn't. Earlier in the year, CERN was also blamed for a string of earthquakes in Italy in 2016 that took more than 200 lives. By November of the same year, there were multiple theories about CERN's controversial experiment called Awake causing the earthquakes. The Awake experiment was designed to explore the use of plasma to accelerate particles to high energies over a distance. As part of the experiment, scientists were sending a proton beam from a superproton synchrotron (SPS) into a plasma cell. Since CERN didn't have a clear record of sharing details about any previous experiments, the Italian media took the matter into their hands and created a very detailed investigation of CERN's Awake experiment. From a scientific perspective, Awake had no correlation to the earthquakes. But CERN's sketchy history of being secretive and silent about some of the biggest conspiracies didn't help the organization's case. This was also because CERN scientists knew that there would be media backlash over their weird experiment, but they didn't bother releasing a proper statement for months. This time around, Italy's leading newspaper, Illinois Fatto Quotidiano, published several stories about CERN's involvement in the earthquakes and bashed the organization for keeping secrets and lying from the very people it is meant to help. While there's no factual evidence that CERN's plasma experiment was the root cause of the earthquakes, we have to remember that thousands of lives were lost, hundreds of homes were destroyed, and any institution refusing to take any responsibility in the matter was sure to take the heat. To make matters worse, the earth beneath our feet shook once more, figuratively this time, when in 2018, the U.S. military and naval forces captured a UFO hovering over the Pacific. While the news didn't surprise anyone because we have all accepted that aliens exist, things started to look suspicious for CERN once again. Researchers like Willamette Week and Stanford University's publication, The Dish, found that there might be a correlation between the strange UFO sighting and CERN's experiments. Both reports noted that during the 2018 incident, the LHC had been operational for a longer period than usual and had been at the highest possible energy output recorded for the particle collider. CERN, on the other hand, was once again hesitant to respond to the UFO controversy. CERN's involvement in the UFO sighting is pretty far-fetched, but then again, a lot of strange occurrences are happening around the organization's time in power. One thing is certain, we do not understand the depths of the experiments and research conducted at the Geneva facility. More and more scientists are worried about the nature of experiments at the LHC and the general cost of conducting these bizarre tests. Now, we know that we shouldn't really pin earthquakes on CERN, but a ritualistic sacrifice that was once a prank might have been rooted in reality. No matter how secretive CERN gets about its operations, it is only a matter of time before it is buried under the conspiracy theories it gives birth to.